my name is Marianne Weinreich, and I'm the chairman of the Cycling Embassy of Denmark. The Cycling Embassy of Denmark is an umbrella organization for 30 members. It is cities, Danish cycling cities, Danish private companies and Danish NGOs. And what we have in common is that we all work with cycling in one way or the others. And we, as a cycling embassy, our purpose is to brand and promote cycling, and especially the Danish know-how in cycling, and also to develop Denmark as a cycling country. So we have the stand here at Velocity to share all the knowledge that we have because of our members. And our website is our key gateway to all this knowledge.
So can you tell me about cycling in Denmark?
Yeah, what do you want to know? Almost every Dane rides a bike sometime. We learn how to ride a bike as a child. Almost everybody rides a bike sometime in Denmark. We teach our children how to ride a bike from an early age. We start by having them on the back of the bicycle from very young, and then when they're about 2, they get a running bike, and then they go to learn how to ride a regular bike. In average, about 17% of all traffic in Denmark, all trips in Denmark, is made by bicycle. And in the city of Copenhagen, about 60% of the trips in the city are done by bike. And in Odense, it's about 25%, and in Aarhus, where I live, it's 20%. We have hills in Aarhus. I live on top of a hill and go uphill with my bike and my groceries every day.
With a normal bike, not any bike?
I have a bike like this.
Yeah.
So I go with a bike like this and have my groceries in the front load. And my son, who's 8, he's riding. He's been riding with me since he was a little child, and now he's cycling alone to and from school also. And he's turning 9 next month.
Regarding education, is it a question done by cities at school, or is it the parents that help their children?
It's actually both. It's the parents teach the children from a really early age, and then when they go to school, they are told about the rules. And in the 6th grade, there is a test that it's not mandatory, but there is a test that children can take where they are given a grade to see if they know the rules and can behave in traffic, and then they are kind of allowed to cycle alone in traffic. But it's not mandatory in any way. So, but it's a way of making sure that they know the rules also.
What about safety? I guess cars are used to have bikes on the road, so they're very careful.
Yes, it's a combination of really good bicycle infrastructure.
Yeah.
We have on the roads where the traffic is fast and heavy, we have bicycle paths. We have separated bicycle paths with a curb. So we have pedestrians, we have bicycles on bicycle paths with a curb, parked cars, and then the moving cars. So you feel really safe. On the streets with lower speed, we also have painted lines. And then we have the residential areas with slow speed. There's mixed traffic. But the infrastructure is really, really key to having women, especially women and children cycling, because you need to feel safe. And of course, the other thing, as you mentioned, car drivers in Denmark, they also have been on a bicycle. And there are so many of us that they realize. And for instance, I ride a bike in the city, but when I have longer trips, I also use my car, and really long trips I use train and plane. I'm not biking only. It's about mobility and about choosing the right mode of transportation for the trip that you're doing.
So why did you build this brand in Denmark, Cycling Embassy?
Because in 2008 a lot of focus was on Copenhagen and all the great things that they have done for cycling. And there was such big attention, and everybody wanted to talk to people in Denmark about cycling. And there was no place where everything was like gathered, coordinated, yeah. So we were a handful of Danish cities and private companies and the Danish Cycling Federation. We joined forces and said, let's make a coordinated effort, have an organization that can be the one door that you knock on if you want to have knowledge or talk to people about cycling. So we decided to create the Cycling Embassy. And the name is actually chosen for two reasons. Because we think we are all ambassadors for cycling, but also because we wanted a cool name for branding. And it has been a success, and now there's a Dutch Cycling Embassy, a German Cycling Embassy, and also an Austrian Cycling Embassy. And the idea is that we are so different from what we do in cycling, but we all work with cycling, so we are all ambassadors for common cause.
What kind of companies do you have in your network?
Excuse me?
Kind of companies? What kind of companies?
For instance, the company that I represent in Växjö, it's a company that produces designer street furniture. And we have a whole range of products for making a city more cyclist friendly. Like you can see the bicycle counter, and we have bicycle air pumps, and like a tilted bin so that you can actually, when you're riding and you have garbage, you can. It's easier to hit the garbage can. And then we also have a lot of consultancies and architectural firms. And then we have like Velovis, the company that produces these bikes, and then we have also a company that does IT, where they have the system of called Cycle Score. You can put up detectors, for instance, at schools, and we have a chip. You have a chip in your bicycle. And when you pass, you're part of a lottery. So we have Go Bike, the company that has provided the city of Copenhagen with the public bike share system, electric bikes. So it's a variety of organizations. We also have Cycling Without Age, which is a very cool volunteer foundation where they provide bicycle rickshaws for elderly homes, and then volunteers will cycle with the elderly residents of the elderly home around their city. And because of the idea of this organization is that everybody has the right to wind in their hair. It doesn't matter how old you are, you have the right to wind in your hair, and I think it's just amazing. We have
yes, I saw it.
And it's become very successful, and it's spreading now actually all over the world. So it's a really cool project. Yeah.
Today you're in France. What do you think about cycling in France? It's very different. A couple of months ago I organized a conference about cycling in Monaco, and we had this boy from Denmark, and he talked about about the way of life, about cycling, which is very different to us. Anyway, I think we can benefit of your culture, so what are the components of culture to have to develop cycling?
Yeah, when it comes to France, I haven't been to that many cities. I've cycled a little bit in Paris on the Vélib system, and I was really positively surprised the last time I came to Paris to see how much infrastructure has been put up, and also here. But of course there is, in Denmark it's 50% men and women cycling, and we all, most of us, ride in regular clothes. This is what I would be riding in Denmark. I don't put on special clothes. And in many other countries, and I don't know how much so it is here in France, but at least like in Italy, in the UK, in Spain, it's primarily men in their 30s in Lycra who are cycling. And that's the main difference from Denmark, because everybody rides. It's our ministers, it's women, it's children, it's everybody. And that's, I think, is one of the keys to being successful, a successful cycling city, is, as Philippe Chris said in the opening plenum session, to make it super normal. Just not a big deal, just on your bike and off you go.
So if you had a piece of advice, you mean that, well, cycling is not just for sports, it's for people in cities, and you can ride in your normal clothes.
Yeah. Cycling should be considered a transportation. Of course, some people ride for sports, and that's great, but it's really important to view the bicycle as a means of transportation, like walking, going on a bus, or using a car. And it should be given priority. And it should be available, and you don't, because if you have to dress up in a certain way or wear special clothes or reflective clothes or whatever, then people won't do it. And that's a good thing about the bicycle. It's so easy to just get on your bike and off you go, and you put it, and and if it rains, you put on a rain cap or something, or you take the bus or walk or the car. It's for me, it's not. For me, the bicycle, it's not a religion or something. It's because it's great for cities, and it's easy for me to get around on my bike. I don't have to worry about parking and all that.
It's efficient as well.
Yeah, and it's super efficient.
Time of ride.
Yeah, it's just from A to B very quickly. And of course, I enjoy traveling through a city on a bicycle, because you experience the city in a totally different way than when you're in a car. And one of the great things about my job is that I get to travel to cities and ride on bicycle in cities and experience them. And wind in my hair, the sun, the rain, everything, the smells, all that you don't get in your car. You're just stuck in metal.
Would you mind making a focus on cycling in winter? Because we're not used to winter, but I guess it might be different for you. So
in Denmark we also ride during winter time. We have snow. We don't have snow all over winter, and we have frost, so it can be icy. But for instance, in the city of Copenhagen, 70% of the regular cyclists, they keep on riding during winter time, just because the city, it's two things. The city makes sure that the snow, or if it's ice, that it's plowed, or they put salt or grain or whatever, before they do something with the roads for the cars. So maintenance is really key, because if it's slippery and dangerous, of course you can't go on your bicycle. And the second thing is that because people their habit is to go on a bicycle, then if it's snowing or whatever, it's just what else to do, because then they would have to think about, the bus, when does it go, which bus do I need? So people, like it is with car drivers, they use a car because it's what they know. Then the bicycle riders, they use a bicycle because it's their habit. So, but maintenance is really key to having people stay on the bicycle in winter time.
And do you put special tires on wheels?
No, some do. Some do.
There's no need?
But no.
Not really?
No, we are regular cyclists in Denmark doesn't care that much about the gear. It's just a bike, and it takes me from A to B. We have a saying in Denmark, because we have very big variety in the weather. So we have a saying that there's no such thing as bad weather, only the wrong clothes. So it's about just dressing for the weather and having a scarf and gloves, and that if it's cold.
So you keep the same habit as you would have, like if you walked in winter in Denmark? Yeah,
if it's really slippery and a lot of snow, I would prefer to walk or go by bus. But if it's just light snow, then I would go by bike,
Okay. Do you have a message to send to people in cities about cycling from your experience?
I think that also, as it was said in the plenary, that the bicycle is not a goal in itself. It's a means to create better cities, cities for people, cities where that is not crowded with cars and metal, but with people instead, and where it's livable and healthy to live and stay and work. So that would be my main message.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Sanj.